baby told me with a sigh, saying words that came across as a doubt.
So imagine with me, you were on the Titanic. Someone looks you in the eye and says, take my spot, get in the boat, go. And they stay behind so you can live. Would you ever forget that person? No, it would be etched into your soul forever. Someone gave their life for mine. That's exactly what Jesus did. He didn't just give up a lifeboat seat. He gave up his life in the flesh for you and for me. And the only reason we forget is because we weren't there. But it happened, it's real, and it's not a story. So today, just imagine you're on that ship and someone says, you go, get in the boat. Can you imagine refusing that gift? Neither can I. Don't refuse it. So I've decided to do a little bit of spring cleaning and take you along with me as I prepare just the house for just the spring beautiful weather that's on its way. I'm going to take you along as I clean, but I want to share a little bit of something personal, near and dear to my heart that potentially can help someone listening as well. So as you see, my life is pretty routine. But what you don't see is everything that goes into just showing up like this. And I wanted to talk about that. I've been on a health journey for a long time, since I was 16 years old actually. That's when I was first diagnosed with PCOS, polycystic ovary syndrome. And if you know, you know. Hormonal imbalances, irregular cycles, fatigue, weight fluctuations, mood shifts, it's just a lot. And for years I managed the best I could. But something still felt off. Every few months, like clockwork, I would hit a wall, not just a tired wall, not just a bad week. I'm talking about 2 weeks of feeling like a completely different person. In those weeks, it's a lot of rage, fury, depression that just could sit on my chest, mental fatigue so heavy I could barely think, physical fatigue so deep I could barely move. And then it would lift, and I'd be left wondering what just happened to me. For a long time, I was told I was bipolar, manic bipolar, and carried that diagnosis. And I tried to make sense of it, but something never quite fit. Because it wasn't random, it was cyclical. It happened at the same point every single cycle. And that's not bipolar, that's called PMDD. PMDD stands for premenstrual dysphoric disorder. And I want to be really clear about something. This is not just bad PMS. This is not just being emotional. This is clinically recognized hormone-driven condition that directly impacts your mental health. And for those of us with PCOS, where our hormones are already all over the place, PMDD can ride right on top of that and make everything else so much more intense. And here's the thing, PMDD is a newer diagnosis. It hasn't always been recognized. It hasn't always been on a doctor's radar. So instead of getting answers, a lot of us got labels: bipolar, depressed, dramatic, too sensitive. And we believed it because what else were we supposed to do? Now I'm sharing this because I know I'm not the only one. I know there are people out there who have PCOS who notice that every few months they go through something really dark, really hard, really consuming, and they don't know why. And I want you to know that there is a name for it. You're not bipolar just because your moods shift dramatically. You might be dealing with a hormonal condition that has a real mental health component that not enough people are talking about. So let's talk about it. Because mental health doesn't exist in a vacuum, it is connected to everything. It's connected to our hormones. It's connected to how we move our bodies. It's connected to what we put in our bodies, and honestly, what we put on our bodies too. Your skin is the largest organ. Let that sink in. Everything you apply to your skin gets absorbed, and when you're already dealing with a hormonal imbalance like PCOS or PMDD, or both, what you expose your body to matters. That doesn't mean you have to be perfect. I'm not perfect. I am not someone who eats completely clean or lives in a bubble. but I am someone who is intentional because I know what I consume, food, products, even the energy around me, affects how I feel. A lot of our food today are stripped of minerals and vitamins our bodies actually need. So even when we think we're eating okay, we're often still deficient. And those deficiencies, they show up in your mood, in your energy, in your skin, in your cycle. So I do what I can to put those things back in, whether it's through supplements, through the way I eat, through the products I use and make. And exercise. I want to talk about exercise for a second. Not because I think everyone needs to look a certain way, but because movement has genuinely saved me. When I am in the thick of PMDD, an episode, exercise is one of the only things that helps regulate what's happening in my body. It moves the energy, it balances hormones, it clears the mental fog. It reminds me that I am still in control of something even when everything else feels out of control. It's all connected. The hormones, the mental health, the food, the products, the movement, the rest. None of it exists separately. And that's why I talk about all of it here, because wellness isn't just one thing. It's a whole picture. I'm going to keep sharing my journey, the honest, unfiltered version of it, because if even one person watches this and thinks, wait, that sounds like me, and goes to their doctor and advocates for themselves and gets the right answers, then this was worth it all. You are not too much. You are not broken. You might just be undiagnosed, and you deserve to know the difference. Hey there, Blue Moon Whisper friends. So, allergy season is about to be upon us. So I know the weather's a little wonky right now, but just bear with me. On April and May in upstate New York, it starts getting warmer and that pollen comes out, and boy, do the allergies hit hard. I have something called Allergy Armor. It is better than Claritin and Zyrtec, and it doesn't destroy your liver or your esophagus, all those things. It has got mullein, stinging nettle, and dandelion root in it. It is absolutely amazing. Mullein was something the Native Americans used all the time. They smoke it even to help clear the passageways. It will clear up any sort of clogging, any sort of congestion. Also, dandelion root is amazing for that as well as stinging nettles. Stinging nettles is perfect for your allergy season, but also stinging nettles is great to provide other nutrients to your body that your body will need, such as anything for its immune system, anti-inflammatory. I'm telling you guys, Allergy Armor, you need it in your medicine cabinet. It's $30 a bottle. I'm telling you, the $30 a bottle for this will last you a month at least if you use it twice a day. No joke. I love it. I use it over Claritin and Zyrtec. And let me tell you, I was popping those things twice a day during allergy season. It's horrible. So I knew I needed to find an alternative, a natural alternative that worked though. I'm not just about being all natural just to be all natural. I'm about being all natural with things that work. Mullein, stinging nettle, and dandelion root, those are the 3 items in the combination tincture called Allergy Armor. So if you want it today, go to bluemoonwhispers.com, look up Allergy Armor, and it will be shot out in the mail, free shipping and all, to you ASAP. Love you guys. Now let's talk about something that doesn't get nearly enough attention. PMDD, premenstrual dysphoric disorder. Because if you ever felt like a completely different person in the days leading up to your period, like your emotions are hijacked, your body feels foreign, and you can barely recognize yourself. You are not dramatic. You are not too sensitive. You may be living with PMDD. So what does it actually look like? PMDD typically shows up in 1 or 2 weeks before your period. We're talking intense mood swings, not just feeling a little off, but full emotional spirals, deep sadness, sudden bursts of anger, overwhelming anxiety that seems to come from nowhere. You might feel hopeless, disconnected from the people you love, or completely drained of motivation. Physically, bloating, breast tenderness, headaches, joint pain, disrupted sleep, and extreme fatigue. And then, almost like magic, your period starts, and within a day or 2, it lifts. That cycle, that pattern, is one of the biggest signs that what you're dealing with is PMDD. Now, when you layer PCOS on top of that, polycystic ovary syndrome, you're dealing with hormonal imbalance at an even deeper level, irregular cycles, elevated androgens, inflammation, insulin resistance. These two conditions can feed each other and they can make your luteal phase feel absolutely brutal. Here's what I want you to know. There is help. And I want to be clear, I am not anti-medication. I am not anti-pharmaceutical, not at all. There are pharmaceuticals, SSRIs, hormonal therapies that have genuinely changed lives and given people relief. If that's your path, there is absolutely no shame in that. Your health comes first, always. But I also want to share my personal journey because I think it matters. For about 2 years, I was on medication. Under my doctor's care, it helped me get through some really hard seasons, specifically a divorce. But then, with my doctor's supervision, I made the decision to wean off. And for the past 2 years, I have been managing my PMDD and PCOS using herbal and nutritional support, and it has worked for me. Things like Vitex, also known as chasteberry, which supports progesterone balance, magnesium glycinate, which is incredible for reducing anxiety, cramps, and sleep disruption in your luteal phase, omega-3s to combat inflammation, vitamin B6 to support mood regulation, evening primrose oil, spearmint tea for androgen support with PCOS. And these things aren't just trends. There's real research behind them. Movement has also been medicine for me, understanding how to exercise with my cycle instead of against it, giving myself grace in my luteal phase, being more active in my follicular phase. That shift alone changed everything. Now, and I cannot stress this enough, what works for my body may not be exactly your answer. Your hormones are yours. Your history is yours. Please work with a doctor or a naturopath who takes you seriously. Don't just stop medication on your own. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that options exist. You don't have to white knuckle through every cycle. You don't have to destroy your liver and kidneys trying to manage symptoms if there's a gentler way your body responds to. And you don't have to choose between modern medicine and natural support. Sometimes it's both. And that's perfectly okay too. Know your body, advocate for yourself, and trust that healing is possible. So I'm doing a little cleaning, and honestly, a clean space really does equal a clear mind. And when I'm getting things together over here, I wanted to have a real conversation with you all about mental health. Not the surface level stuff. I mean actual practical things you can start doing to feel better from the inside out. So let's get into it. First thing, moving your body. And I'm not talking about becoming a fitness influencer overnight. I mean just move. A 20-minute walk, dancing around your living room, stretching in the morning, it all counts. When you exercise, your brain releases endorphins and serotonin, which are literally your body's natural antidepressants. Studies have shown that regular movement can be just as effective as medication for mild to moderate depression. And look, even what I'm doing right now, cleaning, moving around, being active in my space, this counts too. The goal is to just get out of a sedentary state every single day. Next, let's talk about your phone, specifically what you're feeding your brain through that screen. Doom scrolling, comparing yourself to highlight reels, watching content that leaves you feeling anxious or less than, that stuff adds up. Your mental diet is just as important as your physical one. So try setting a screen time limit on your apps that drain you. Unfollow accounts that make you feel bad about yourself. Replace that late night scrolling with something that actually nourishes you. A good podcast, a book, a creative hobby. You curate your own feed, so be intentional about making it a space that builds you up instead of tearing you down. This one I cannot stress enough. Talk to someone. And I mean really talk. Whether that's a licensed therapist, a school counselor, a pastor, a mentor, or even a close friend you trust. Getting the things out of your head and into the open is so healing. There is absolutely zero weakness in asking for help. In fact, recognizing that you need support, actually going to get it, that takes real courage. If therapy feels out of reach financially, look into the community, mental health centers, sliding scale therapists, or apps like BetterHelp. Your mind deserves the same care you'd give a broken bone. You wouldn't just walk around on a broken leg, wouldn't you? Or would you? Don't walk around with a broken spirit either. On that same note, journaling is something I want to put more people onto. You don't have to be a writer, you don't need a fancy journal. Even just opening your notes app and brain dumping your thoughts for 5 minutes a day can incredibly be therapeutic. It helps you process emotions, spot patterns in your thinking, and get clarity on what's actually bothering you. Sometimes we don't even realize how anxious or overwhelmed we are until we write it out and see it in front of us. Try keeping a gratitude journal too, just 3 things you're grateful for each day. It genuinely rewrites your brain. I can't speak. It genuinely rewires your brain over time to focus on the positive. Okay, so let's talk about routine. Structure is so underrated when it comes to mental health. When your days feel chaotic and unpredictable, your nervous system stays in a constant state of low-level stress. But when you have anchors throughout your day, a morning routine, a set time you eat, a wind-down ritual at night, your brain feels safe. It doesn't have to be rigid, military-style-like schedule. Just a few consistent habits that signal to your body, we're okay. We know what's coming. Something as simple as making your bed every morning, having your coffee without your phone, or taking 5 deep breaths before you start work can completely change the tone of your day. And speaking of routines, can we please normalize priority for sleep? Sleep deprivation is one of the most underestimated contributors to poor mental health. When you're not sleeping enough, your emotional regulation goes out the window. You're more irritable, more anxious, less able to handle stress. Aim for 7 to 9 hours a night. Create a sleep environment that actually supports rest. Keep your room cool and dark. Put your phone on Do Not Disturb and try to go to bed around the same time every night. Your brain does so much healing while you sleep. Don't rob yourself of that. Okay, this one's big. Learning to say no is one of the most powerful acts of self-care you can practice. A lot of us are mentally exhausted because we've said yes to everything and everyone except ourselves. Overcommitting, people-pleasing, staying in situations that drain us, all of that takes a serious toll on your mental health. You are allowed to say no to things that don't serve you. You are allowed to protect your energy. You are allowed to choose yourself. Boundaries aren't about being rude or selfish. They're about being honest about what you can and cannot give, and self-respect. Enough to enforce that. You must respect yourself. Thanks for following along and taking a listen. Love you guys.